heard this joke for recovery. You want to check it out, right? So it goes, this dude walks into a bar, right? And he's like, hey, bartender, let me get a shot of whiskey. So the bartender gives him a shot, and the dude like pushes it away, and he's like, let me get another one. So the bartender hands him another shot, and he's like, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what was wrong with the first one? And the dude was like, well, these meetings I go to, they keep telling me that it's always the first one that gets me. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Truth Addiction. This is the channel that deals with the disease of addiction and all the ways it manifests itself. I am a recovering addict, and my name is Brian, and I suffer from a disease which is incurable, progressive, and sometimes fatal. It can, however, be arrested at some point, and recovery is then possible. Hey, I'm sitting here with my man Tom. What's going on, Tom?
What's up, bro?
I'm all right, man. How's your day going so far?
It's good right now. Another day clean and sober.
That's fucking right, dude. I hear that. So anyway, man, I'm sure you've seen an episode or two, but if not, this is what we do here. I got some questions, and they need to be answered, and you agreed to answer them.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna get in. Before we get into that, do me a favor. Hit them like buttons, them thumbs that are like that. Yeah, hit that for me. Leave a comment. I don't care what you want to tell me. Tell me anything. Just say anything. And most of all, hit that subscribe button, man. You know what I mean? Help us carry this message off of this channel. So anyway, you ready, Tom?
Yes, sir.
All right, so would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been clean?
My name's Tom, grateful recovering addict. I've been clean for 18 months and 21 days.
All right, let me get a little clap for that. A little clap, man. I've been seeing Tom come around since almost the beginning. I don't know what you had, like 3-4 months, maybe 5 when I met you.
About 5 months. Yeah.
5 or 6 maybe, and I just seen him. He just kept coming, man. And now you're sitting here with 18 months. That's a beautiful thing, man. All right, so tell us a little bit about your background. So where were you born? Where were you raised? And tell us a little bit about your early childhood.
My name's Tom, grateful recovering addict. So I grew up. I had two parents. They were both addicts. They took care of me. To the best of their ability, they were good parents, but we bounced around Philly. I lived in Mayfair, I lived in Frankfurt, I lived in Kensington.
So just by the way, because some people don't know where we're actually at, that's all Philadelphia, what he was just talking about. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I started off when I was about 12 years old. I was using marijuana and drinking with the friends on the weekends.
So wait a minute, let's go back for a second. So your home life, did you have any like brothers and sisters?
So I have a sister none of my siblings have the same mother and father. We both have the same mother. My stepdad who raised me is her father.
Okay. So you said that there was no drugs? I didn't catch what you said at first. Was there drugs prevalent in your house when you were young that you remember?
Yeah, so my parents, they smoked marijuana. They probably did other drugs too, here and there, they're not in front of me, but they would be under the influence in front of me. And my dad was a biker, so there was always people over using. They were usually drinking. Everything else that comes with that, so there were substances involved.
Right. I had similar. I didn't have my dad wasn't around, but my mom would have like different dude in the crib every couple weeks, and it was a bunch of that same shit, man. People just getting drunk. From my earliest memory, I can remember. It's still burned in my head. Like my mom and her friends would pour like. That liquor that's like 190 proof, you know what I'm talking about?
Moonshine.
Like moonshine. And I can still to this day remember them lighting it on fire and doing it. Yeah. And that was at a young age, man. So, I had a similar childhood. So, what about like your teenagers? What about high school? Like, did you graduate?
So, when I was a good kid, my parents were on top of me about my school. But so then I didn't know it until I turned 32 that I realized that I was an addict all this time. So once I got into high school, all I was worried about was marijuana. I had to smoke to sleep. I had to smoke to when I woke up. I had to smoke to do anything good or bad or just to smoke. It was, so I didn't really care about school anymore. In fact, I would smoke on my way to school. I would scan in and I would leave and I would use all day. And then I would go home like nothing ever happened.
Did you end up graduating?
So I got kicked out of my high school for fighting, but then I went back to high school and I got my high school diploma on an online high school.
Oh, okay.
It's called Penn Foster, yeah.
All right, yeah, I went back when I was, I'm 48 now. I think I was 28 and I went back and got a GED. Because I left school in 9th grade, dude.
Yeah, I was like 23 when I decided to get my...
9th grade, man.
I was 21 when I decided to get my diploma.
That corner life, hanging on the corner was way more attractive than going to school. Yeah. So, that just had to happen. Did you have any like hobbies as a teenager? Like play any sports? Anything like that?
Yeah, so I played baseball. I played baseball for 2 years for Mayfair AC. That was good. We went to the state championship. We lost, but we went.
Were you smoking weed then, as you're playing the sports, or not?
Not when I played sports. But as soon as I was done playing, yeah. As soon as the game was over, I was smoking. As soon as the game was over, it was already rolled. I was smoking.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have any hobbies?
So I skateboarded for many years.
All right, I know a lot of people.
For 4 years, I skateboarded. I had other hobbies too. I mean, graffiti and
Was it constructive graffiti or you was fucking people's shit up?
Usually fucking people's shit up. Yeah, yeah. It was definitely all that. I couldn't even really graffiti either. I was just running with the guys that could.
You was just writing shit to writing shit.
Yeah.
All right, I remember one time, dude, I ain't graffiti neither, right? But on a dare, I went down on an underpass of 95, bro. It was like, so if you're coming off Delaware Ave, which is by Penn's Landing in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I know where it's at.
Well, I was just telling them, just in case they didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? So dude, the entrance onto it is just a big white wall. And I didn't know. I actually wrote my fucking full name just as shitty as it could, just Brian across the fucking wall. And it was there for years, man. But yeah, I look back at that shit, that was fucking stupid as shit. But anyway, so what age would you say you were when you first used? And when I say used, I mean anything, man. Alcohol, dope, crack, whatever. So
when I first used, I was 12. I was just stealing the beer out of my parents' fridge. It was my dad's, and he had so much 30 packs of Budweiser, and he made wine and all this stuff. So if I took it, they just didn't even really know because they got so obliterated that they just thought they did it.
Yeah.
And then they smoked weed, so I would steal my dad's weed. He sold it, so I would steal like handfuls of the shit, but he had so much of it, he didn't know that I stole it. Now I think back, like I was grabbing whole handfuls. I was grabbing like a fucking ounce and shit. Right. He had so much of it, he didn't even notice.
Yeah, I talk about it. My mom sold weed, and she had like 3 big ass shoe boxes, right? And in each one, back then they actually sold nicks. I don't know if they sell nicks anymore, but she had a box full of nicks bagged up, a box full of dimes, and then her quarter ounces. And I used to do the same shit, man. Just once I started using, I held out for a while. I was like a kind of a late bloomer considering some of the people I've been interviewing. I didn't really start until I was like 16. But a lot of people I interview, man, and talk to, it's like 12, 13, shit. Somebody I interviewed was like 7.
That's crazy.
9. I'm like, damn. I met this girl one time when I was using, man. She said she started banging heroin at fucking 10. I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy, but it is what it is, man. So I like to ask this: Do do you think that first use was like a peer pressure thing, or?
So my first, it wasn't really peer pressure. I just did it because everybody else was, and I wanted to feel a part of.
Okay. See, I had somebody else answer it like that too. To me, that's kind of peer pressure.
Yeah, in a sense.
There's that peer pressure where it's like, hey man, you got to do this, you got to do this. But then, to me, wanting to fit in other words, did you know that fucking doing drugs was fucking bad at the point you first did them? Like, did you have that feeling like I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think that's peer pressure.
In a sense, yeah.
In a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, in other words, the whole point of this question that I asked everybody, I got this fucking theory that most of the people with the disease of addiction, their first use was kind of against their own will. It's almost like you were powerless from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I had this, I knew, like, my house was fucked up with drugs. I hated drugs. So I knew that, like, this is fucking whack to be doing this. But eventually, it just, get in where you fit in, man. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked. It's just a theory that I have. Because I think we can trace this disease back to either when we were fucking born, while we were in the womb, or early childhood. We picked it up, maybe from the ages. You know, they say a lot of specialists and people that are way smarter than me that deal with like children.
Yeah.
They say that we become like 70-80% of who we become as adults was created from 6 months old to 5 years old, which is young. So I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it stems from early childhood, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember shit from when I was 5 or younger.
Nah, me either.
So that might be why it's so hard. Maybe could be one of the reasons there ain't no cure. Because how fuck can you go back and address something you can't even remember or think about? You know what I mean? It's just some shit I like to think about. I don't know. So that's leading into this. So we've done some. I know you've done some step work. You have a sponsor. You have a home group. Shit, I think you got 2 home groups. You just said.
Indeed, yeah.
You got 2 home groups. You got a little circle, a little network of people who aren't using, right?
Right.
And so looking back at it today, till when you were 12, right? Before that first use, do you see any signs of the disease of addiction, like in other ways? Do you think?
What do you mean?
So, all right. So for me, I was honing my manipulation skills when I was way before the drugs. Or I was just bullshitting about the most stupidest shit before the drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so before I did the drugs, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I think everybody knows what they are. Pokemon cards came out. So when the Pokemon cards came out, and my parents, like, they taught me not to steal and all that. Like, they were pretty strict with that. Me and my friend would beat people up and take their Pokemon cards. So my friend would get...
Would you go up on him and be like, Pikachu, motherfucker, and punch him in the face?
So my friend would get him to show the cards, and when they're showing the cards, I would come up and smack them all. And then when they were all on the ground, we would just pick them all up and run off.
Yeah. So you was thieving and fucking dumb shit.
Yeah, I was doing all crazy stuff, you know.
And another one that I totally see the disease in when I was younger was the wearing of the mask. Like, being whoever the fuck you needed me to be.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just never comfortable with who I was.
Right, yeah.
Shit,
yeah.
I don't even know who the fuck I was, bro.
Nah,
like, to be honest with you.
I was always just trying to fit in where I get in and impress people.
You know, I hear people sometimes in recovery, like, you know, talking about, I just want to get back to who I was, you know. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know who the fuck I was before I was using.
Right. I'm still figuring that out.
Right.
I'm still figuring out. I'm starting to find out who Tom is. I never knew who Tom was.
Right, and I
was putting that mask on and acting like I was something that I wasn't to impress other people.
And it's usually impressing the people that you really shouldn't even be impressing. The fucking whack jobs.
Impressing
and shit
people that
we
are
put
not
on this pedestal.
Yeah, people trying to impress people that don't even need to be impressed because they're not positive people to begin with.
Exactly, man. It's so crazy how we do, man. So anyway, like, so take us back to when you're 12 and you used for the first time, all the way up to this time when you got clean, and break down that progression for us.
All right. So when I used when I was a kid, it was really like when I was like 12 and 13 and 14, it was really only like weekends when the parents were partying and I didn't have school. And I could actually like go out and hang out with my friends because I was still young. I couldn't just go anywhere. You know, and it was just drinking and smoking, but really it was like just about being a part of. I wasn't like full-fledged.
You weren't assed out yet.
I wasn't full-fledged addiction yet.
Right.
So I mean, it progressed as I got older. I started getting in trouble in school when I was in like 7th grade because I was acting out. You know, I would punch people or make fun of people, all that stuff. Most of the time, like it was because I was high off the weed. You know, I wasn't really a drinker. Like I would drink on the weekends to be a part of, but I never could really handle myself on that. You know, and then once I got to high school, like it was just all I cared about. I got in where I fit in. I found all the people doing the same stuff as me. Everything was about weed, how to get the next one, you know, and I didn't see like how much it affected my life. To be honest, like I really just didn't even care. So you know, it got worse. You know, I had, like I said, I was a good kid, and it wasn't like I was stupid, but I just made a lot of wrong choices. And I had a good job. I got my first job at KFC, right across the street from the 15th district. And 7 months later, I was the boss. I was the manager. They moved me to Franklin Mills. I was the manager, shift supervisor at KFC. And ultimately, I lost that job because of my addiction.
Where were you in at that point? Was it still weed, or are you?
Yeah, I smoked hella weed and drank. Sometimes I would do pills, like not really a lot though, but sometimes I would do pills like Xannies or a Percocet once in a while. But I couldn't really handle it, so I didn't. And so when I was working at KFC, like I was, you know, I got into all the things that come with it. Like I thought, like, so I would sell weed to support my habit, not to make money.
Right.
To support my habit, so it didn't come out of my money to live.
You was a monkey selling bananas.
Yeah.
Which we should never do.
Exactly. So you know, at this point, I was 18. Some time passed, and I wound up losing my job because I was stealing money from my job.
Mm-hmm. You was supporting a habit with that money?
Yeah, while it lasted 2 weeks, and then they just let me go. I was trying to do it like Sly. I had this great idea since I was the manager. You know, like they weren't gonna find out. Like I worked Friday and Saturday nights all the way till midnight. So I had like a 20-piece meal at KFC was $21.99. So since I was a manager, I could bring it up as a special for $10.99, and I just wouldn't give receipts, and I would tally each person down Friday, Saturday night. We talking 70, 80 people. I wouldn't make any drops, and then I would take that money.
Dude, I had a job like that at a place, man, and like I memorized all the prices, and I would the same thing. I had the job for like 3 weeks, and they were, you know, I would just put, so the customer could see the price on their side, but I would just punch the numbers in, but then I wouldn't hit cash out or nothing, right? But anyway, in 3 weeks, they called me in the office one day, and they're like, "Yo, the store has like lost like $1,000 in profit
that's what
since you fucking been here, dude. But they couldn't prove anything, but still, they were like...
See, I wasn't giving no receipts out.
Yeah.
So, like, it was accounted for, but the problem was they went from making $5,000 to barely $2,000. And they're like, well, why is this happening, you know? And then they just started watching me without me knowing it. I still was doing it, and they caught me, didn't say anything, and the next day they had a big meeting with me in it, and they were like, we know you're stealing.
Yeah, we know, man.
We're letting you go.
So listen, so you're fucking around, obviously, losing jobs and that type of shit, and eventually you come up on your drug of choice. Do you have a drug of choice?
So my drug of choice was heroin.
All right, so take us to that.
So I got it together a little bit. I stopped really smoking weed, and I started going to school to be a medical assistant.
Okay.
And I was living with my girlfriend, so I left her house to go to school, and when I jaywalked on Levick Street in Mayfair, and I got hit by a minivan doing 60, and it broke my legs, my arms, and my skull.
Damn.
Ultimately, I was in a coma for 6 months. I had to learn how to talk and walk all over again. What came with that, the liquid dilaudid on the push button when I was in the hospital.
That dilaudid's shit, bro.
They gave me the Perk 30s, oxycodone, 30 milligrams. By the time I had to learn how to talk again and walk, by the time I left jail, by the time I left the hospital and I went home, I had scripts of that, I had scripts of Dilaudid, and I was taking it as prescribed at first. Mm-hmm. But my father was an addict, so he was always trying to do them with me. So I started doing them with him regularly. And then it turned into me, eventually I got to the point where I started selling them and to make money because I was getting $25 a piece for them. And I started making money, and then I stopped making money because I was doing them all.
Right.
I was snorting 10 to 15 of them every day, and it just progressed, and I wound up stealing from my family. So I had a kid when I got out of the hospital, 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital. And I was there, I cut his umbilical cord, I did all the stuff, man. And my addiction, like, I didn't realize, like, what had happened to me. And I stole from my kid's mother, I stole from my family, they kicked me out.
Were you on heroin yet, or you're still like...
No, so I was still doing the pills, okay. And once I stole from my wife and she kicked me out, I was homeless, and I couldn't afford $25 a pill.
That's exactly what happens.
And I wound up in Frankfurt, and in between Frankfurt and Kensington, and somebody told me about heroin, and I just started doing
real quick, you know how many people... Dude, that story is so common with us, with people with the disease. You, whatever it is, they had mouth surgery done, they got in an accident, whatever it is, and then they found those right doctors that was giving them that shit. Because, like, you know, a doctor don't really know unless you tell the fucking doctor, really. Like, yo, when I go in a hospital or anything now, or I have something, like, I tell them straight up, like, yo, I'm a fucking addict.
Yeah, me too.
Don't, you know what I mean? I just had a surgery not too long ago, like, to take my gallbladder out, like, fucking, like, 8 months ago. And I was like, yo, I'll take whatever you're gonna give me in here. But when I leave here, like, I don't want none of that shit. Like, I was telling them that shit, like, every day. Because I don't trust myself, bro.
Right.
I don't. Like, to this day, I got 6 years clean, bro. I still don't trust putting medications in my body. Like, if I have to, dude, like, don't get it fucked up. Like, if I'm in a bad pain type of situation, I will take the necessary steps and precautions.
But if it's not necessary.
But that's another thing I found out after you're clean, like, how wonderful a Motrin could be.
Right, yeah.
A fucking Tylenol and a Motrin actually fucking works. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we can withstand some pain, too. You know what I mean? A lot of it comes down to a lot of mental shit with us.
Yeah.
We'll swear shit is way worse than what it is.
What it really
because
is, yeah.
that's that disease telling you, yo, you're in way more pain than you think, bro. You need to take this, take this, take that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and to finish that off, and that happens to a lot of fucking people. And the next thing you know, like you just said, shit, buying them, you need like 15 perk 10s to get fucking high anymore, right? And that, you ain't trying to pay that $1.50.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh wait, what's this? Heroin, $10 a bag? And then when you start the dope, I'll let you say. So what's it like when you do that first bag of dope?
So I never used intravenously. I snorted it just like I snorted the perks. So when I first, like, the stuff they got now is different. It's not really
Fentanyl and all that
bullshit. It's all that other
yeah.
stuff. But I mean, like, I would do one bag of heroin in Kensington. It's $5.
They had the Nick bags.
It's $5.
Yeah.
It was equivalent of me doing 2 perk 30s. That's $50.
Exactly.
That's $50. $5, and sometimes I'm getting even fucking more loaded from that one bag. That's $5 than I off of $50. So I mean,
dude, when I first got high, man, one bag of dope, a $10 bag, was lasting me the whole weekend. Like the whole weekend, one bag.
I would get that bag, and
crazy.
It got me so high I would put it in a couple different lines. I could snort one, like the one bag throughout the day in little lines, like.
Yeah.
But it progressed.
And then next thing you know, you need to just spend just as much money on the dope as you did the fucking pills, and now you're back to where the fuck you started. All right, so take us back to the day before your last use, this time, right? What was going on that day? What's going on in your mind? What's life like right in that day, the day before? You going to rehab or something?
Nah, I went to jail.
Okay. Day before.
So I woke up in a tent in what's it called? It's like Center City. It's next to on the Schuylkill. I had a tent there. I woke up there. So how I made my money every day was I stole and sold it to the stores in Kensington to make money. So
I've done that.
I woke up, I went to the L, I got on the train, I took it to Frankfurt Terminal, I took the 14 bus up the Boulevard, that's where it goes, up the Boulevard, right to where it enters into Bucks County. And there's a Wawa across from the Chamonix Inn. And I had this grand idea, like I was doing every other Wawa that didn't have a security guard. I would go in there and just with 2 empty book bags and just steal all the energy drinks that they had. If they seen me, I would be like, fuck you, and I would still take them. Well, I did still take them, and I told them, fuck you, but when I got outside, there was 3 cops there, and they locked me up. And I was so mad at everybody. It was everybody else's fault. But in all reality, like, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because it sat me down. And I, so I got, like, my first day clean was in prison.
Well, just hold on though. So that's your last use that day.
Yeah.
All right. Because I like to ask people the same questions, right? Because I like to get takes on it. And the reason that I ask that question is because I'm a firm believer that you have to remember your last day. Like, remember that, right? Because, they have a saying in some programs, like, if you don't remember your last day using, you're going to have another one.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's important, for me at least, for us to keep that right up here, right in the front of everything we do. Not dwell on it, but to remember how the fuck we felt that day. You know what I mean?
So I could tell you how I felt like. So, like, I lived in a tent, and I never changed my clothes or my socks and shoes for 10 months. and my feet were raw. I could barely walk. I had bugs. I had body lice. I smelled like people didn't even want to be near me. I just hated myself. I hated life. And you know, like I said, getting incarcerated was the best thing that happened to me because it brought me to a sense of surrender. Like I can't just keep doing it.
So in other words, it's totally fucking miraculous that you're sitting here right now with fucking 18 months
Without
clean.
a doubt, without a doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's due to a 12-step program.
Without a
fucking
doubt.
12-step recovery.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Yes, man.
Is that crazy? Like when you really think about that, like, look who and what the fuck I was, and here I am, sitting here getting interviewed, clean, 18 months.
Yeah.
How beautiful is it?
It's awesome.
Because dig this. This interview is probably going to go for about 30, 40 minutes. And in that time, as we're talking, about 6 people are going to overdose in this country and die. It's like every 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's
7, 8 minutes. So into the time we do this interview, we're sitting here clean, found a new way. That many people's going to die, man. Ain't that fucking nuts?
Yeah.
So just, you know, I try to keep that shit right here too, man.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? So tell us your experience with your first 12-step meeting. Like your first one, right? Did you, and that doesn't have to necessarily be the one you stayed clean on, right? But that first one, did you get anything out of that? Was there like a seed planted in that? Or will this work for me? Will it not work for me? You know what I'm saying?
so. I mean, the first time that I went to meetings was probably like when I was like 24 years old. So yeah, it definitely did. It definitely, like I heard people, I heard people speak about where they were at, and I seen how they were living, and I seen how genuinely happy they were with their self. So I knew, like, if they could do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was all about, like, wanting to do it. And I went out a couple of times because I thought I could successfully do it. Until I realized that I couldn't.
But you got that seed planted that first meeting.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because I try to tell people, man, just get to, for most of us, I don't know about most, but we just get to that first one. We'll remember that shit. When we relapse, because most of us do. Most of us relapse.
Yeah.
Right? It takes, you got to bump your head a couple fucking times sometimes.
Yeah.
For me, it absolutely took my friends and family and everything else just cutting me the fuck off, bro. So I was just totally desperate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just desperate, man. And like that, I think that's another important thing for us to get clean. We need that fucking desperation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the gift of desperation.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's, you can get a seed planted, man. And when you're having them fucking rough days using, maybe you're withdrawing or whatnot, that will run through your head.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I know where the freedom is, right? It's just about going to get it. You know what I mean? So let me ask you this. So knowing what you know about the disease of addiction, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to you that you have the disease of addiction?
So it means to me, that means that I have a disease which there is no known cure for. But so I have to surround myself with people that are living a life of recovery. So I had to change my people, places, and things. It's all about my attitudes and behaviors. So it's about putting the same energy into my new way of life as I did into my old way of life.
Right. You buy into the disease concept, though. You buy into that shit.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of us don't. It's probably why a lot of us come in here, they come into a particular 12-step program, and they get cleaned up a little bit, start feeling a little better, get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, little job, and then it's like, okay, I'm good. I just let it get out of control before. You know what I mean? Like I can control it now. I don't know if you like think that, like if that's a straightforward thought, but it's definitely subconscious what happens to us. We think that we can fucking control some shit. And we'll sit there and nod our heads like when people say, you have a disease, and you're like, yeah, I get it, yeah, man. But like to actually grasp that concept is a big help in somebody trying to stay clean, trying to get clean, stay clean, get sober, stay sober, however you want to say it, right? So on that, so do you think there's a cure for addiction? Like, or do you think it needs, in other words, do you think, like, I asked this meaning, do you think that at some point you could stop going to your recovery program, cut it off because you're a little better? You know what I'm saying?
No. I think it says it in the literature. I think it could be arrested if you do the necessary things to.
What are those things?
Step work. Step work, networking with people that have the same common diseased problem as we do, and being a part of, doing positive things, helping people that are newcomers, that are freshly clean, get their lives together, staying active in recovery.
So, let me ask you this, man. So, how is life today for you, man? How is it to be fucking free from active addiction? And talk about that for a second.
So, like honestly, 2020, I never would think that I would be where I'm at in my life now. Because I remember when I was at my worst, living under the L in Kensington, that I already had accepted the fact that I was gonna die like that.
Me too, bro.
And that nobody wanted to help me because nobody talked to me anymore because of the things that I did to people. And I came to Levittown and Bucks County in general, and I met all new friends, and I got involved in 12-step recovery, and I make meetings. I make meetings regularly. I make meetings every day, because if I'm not making meetings, then what am I doing? Probably something negative, because that's really all I know how to do. So I learned. I left everybody from the past where they're at. I met all new friends that are living a positive, good way of life. So if I hang around with people that are smoking crack, most likely I'm gonna be a crackhead. If I hang out with people that are changing their life and doing something about it, then that's what I'm gonna do. So I attend meetings regularly. I never forget where I came from. Like every day I wake up sometimes, and so my life is better than it ever been, man. Like, and I don't have all this stuff. Like I got some stuff that I bought, but from working and all that. But the best things that I got are internal. I got self-worth. I got self-love. I got genuine friends that actually give a fuck about me. I never had any of that stuff before.
They don't want nothing from you, just to see you succeed.
Yeah, man.
That's a wild feeling.
That's a great feeling.
Especially coming from where we came from.
And now people ask me for advice, and I'm like, wow, 20 months ago I was eating out of the dumpster and nobody wanted anything to do with me. Now people are like, Tom, I need your help.
Yeah.
What?
And you're present. Here's the miracle of it, man. And I'm not religious really, so I don't really like throwing that word around too much, but whatever, we'll just call it what it is. Here's the miracle of it. The fact that you're fucking present for this.
Yeah,
that you're present and you're fucking free from any minor mood altering substance. And you're able to even see the fact that you're even aware of what has happened.
Yeah,
it's
man,
fucking miraculous in itself, dude.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so life's good, man.
Life's great.
Life's good, man. Yeah. So You ever think of like, give me one crazy thing that you noticed since you've been clean that you, I don't know if I'm gonna ask this right. Give me one thing that's kind of crazy when you think of time to time, like, man, I remember when I would have did this instead of this, or something like that, you know what I mean? Or something that's going on. I'll give you an example. Here's my example. I still, when I get my phone, I'll look at my phone and I'll still get this thought of, damn, bro, you had the same phone number now for 6 years, right? Because that's how long I've been clean. I could never keep the same phone number. Every time the bill had to be paid, it was like, well, buy some dope or pay the phone bill. And it was like, I gotta buy some dope, you know what I mean? So for me, that's one of the things that like, I still have the same phone number from when I was clean, which is fucking amazing. You got something like that, man?
I guess it's something like that. So like, I don't have it anymore, but like, so like, when I was using, I lived in a tent and I had no pillow, the ground was hard, and no bed, no none of that. Now when I wake up in a recovery house, I'm on a mattress. And I got this thing called a fucking pillow. And I'll tell you what, man, like I do it every day, man. When I wake up, I thank God for
a fucking pillow.
For a pillow, and I'm not in the rain. It's not 3 degrees and I'm outside. That gratitude, I gotta remember where I was at, because if I don't, I start to get cocky with the things that I acquired now. And I had to keep that gratitude. If I don't, I start thinking my shit don't stink.
Dude, I just got chills, you just saying that. Being on some real shit. The shit that dude, you know, the perception of reality, man. You know how many people out there, bro, that got all kinds of good shit. They got money, they got all that shit, bro. And they walk around with life and they're not even aware of how good their shit is. It's hard to stay grateful.
Yeah.
24/7.
It is.
You know what I mean? But we have this thing in us where it could be little things like that we can focus on and be grateful for.
Because
you know what I mean?
because they
amazing.
might be little things, but like there's somebody like me, it's not a little thing.
It's not a little thing, right?
Because I know how it feels not to have that.
Right. So, real quick, man, because we're about to wrap this up. I want you to look in that camera, man, and I want you to, like, if there's somebody struggling out there, man, that thinks like they can't get clean, you know, it's just going to be too hard, or maybe they're thinking about it and they're just kind of stuck. Like, look in that camera and tell somebody something, man. Say something to somebody, man.
My name's Tom, grateful recovering addict. So, I know how it feels to feel like you can never be helped and that life will never get better. But you gotta put the same energy into getting better as you did in all the nut shit, and things will get better. Meet some new people that are living right, and your life will get better. Surround yourself with positive, and you'll get positive.
Thanks, man. Well said. I'll add to that, man. Yo, bro, if you're struggling right now, or sis, whatever, bro or sis, we represent men and women here, right? So if you're struggling right now, take that ass to rehab. And when you come out of that rehab, get you a 12-step recovery program. Whatever you want. There's like fucking 40 of them. But get in one, man.
Yeah.
But with that, man, so I like to end this with this thing at the end of every interview. I call it the fast ass 5, right? So it's just 5 random stupid questions, and I'm gonna throw them out there and just throw me your answer. You ready?
All right.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Just going with summer, all right. Vegetables or candy?
Vegetables.
Vegetables. Healthy man, all right. Horror movie or comedy?
Comedy.
Nice. You're at the barbecue, man. You going all beef hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Going hamburger. You had to think about it though for a second.
Yeah.
Because I threw that all beef in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going all beef hot dog, bro. I don't know. All right, so last question. You rather be brutally honest or lie when you have to?
Brutally honest.
All right, man. Hey, man, that's going to do it, man. I appreciate you being here, bro.
Thanks, man.
Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate y'all watching. Seriously, just to let you know, we just hit 200 subscribers on the channel, man. Can I get a little appreciation clap? Time to clap for You know what I mean? That's a big deal for a small ass channel, especially doing what we're doing. It ain't like we're over here selling shit or fucking, you know, making music videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have a small niche audience, should I say? But 200 subscribers is amazing. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Help me carry this message, man. And remember this. The disease of addiction is broad and outside of the realm of just using drugs. Keep coming back. More will be revealed. We're out of here, man.